I just placed a deposit for a new BYD electric car, but in all fairness, to tell you the honest truth, it wasn't the one I really wanted. This new model of this new BYD electric car is the vehicle that I really want. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Electric Viking. My name is Sam Evans. Great to have you here on the channel. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Welcome back to everyone else. BYD just released details of their new Tang. Now, the BYD Tang has been on sale in China for, I don't know, more than a year. It's been on sale in Norway for at least 6 months. I've seen a lot of people posting on the BYD Norway owners group in Norway, showing their cars driving in the snow and all that kind of stuff, and showing how the range is affected in the cold and their experiences of driving. It seems to be pretty positive, but of course I have to use Google Translate to understand what's going on. However, the BYD Tang, it's the kind of vehicle that would suit my needs perfectly. The size, it's about the perfect size for what I need for my boys and I with our bikes and all our bike riding that we do. Don't know about our bike riding? You can check out my boys' channel. I'll put a link in the description below to Jack and Cal's BMX channel. You can see them, check them out, and there's a few things in there of me too, particularly going hiking with my son Jack at Victoria's highest mountain. He did that when I think he might have been about 7 years old when he did that, so it was pretty cool. It was quite a hard challenge, and he's super fit though from all the bike riding that he does. It was fun to watch. But anyway, getting back to the BYD Tang. The BYD Tang electric car has now a bigger BYD Blade battery, LFP chemistry. So the Blade battery, I'm going to tell you what the range is, but you got to remember the range is real world range, because in the real world, you're not meant to charge your NCM or NCA chemistry battery. In other words, the battery pack in most cars available, the Kia EV6, the Hyundai Ioniq 5, Volkswagen ID3, the non-standard range versions of the Tesla Model 3, Model Y, the S and the X, pretty much most electric cars that are available in the West right now don't have LFP batteries. And so the manufacturers tell you don't charge them to more than 80% unless you really have to. You don't want to do it. Otherwise, you get more battery degradation. Don't discharge them below 20% unless you really have to. Otherwise, you get more battery degradation. LFP batteries, no such rules apply. So in the real world, LFP batteries, their range is understated because you can literally charge them to 100% and down to 0%, and it doesn't affect the batteries at all. Which is the reason why, like I've mentioned on this channel a number of times, BYD is so confident they give you a 500,000 kilometer warranty where the battery will be no lower than 60% degradation. That's 500,000 kilometers, and they're guaranteed it'll have at least 60% of its original capacity. That's a lot of confidence in their batteries, because imagine if half of the batteries in their cars had only 50% of the original range after 500,000 kilometers. Well, they'd have to replace half the batteries in their cars. That would cost them literally hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. If you haven't seen the video on my channel already talking about the BYD Tang, it is a mid to large sized SUV whose current versions are sold not only in China but also in Norway. In 2021, the Tang sales rose by 48% compared to 2020, and they sold 54,204. Now there's a new 2022 version that's going to make this vehicle even better. Now this is me basically making a video to say, hey, BYD Australian distributors, bring one here. Hands up, I want one. I believe they will, hopefully. But I believe they will. The new Tang has been seen a number of times. So these pictures that you can see here are of the new model. It has the latest dragon face design. I don't see anything dragon facey about it, but that's what they call it in China for some reason. That said, it hasn't changed a lot from the 2021 version. According to the MIIT in China, the Ministry of Industry and Technology, or whatever they're called, the dimensions of the new Tang are 4.9 meters, so 4,900 millimeters, 1,950 millimeters wide, and 1,725 millimeters high, with a wheelbase of 2.8 meters, 2,820 millimeters. In other words, it's actually a little bit bigger than a Mustang Mach-E, but because of the way it's shaped, the interior, I think, will probably be close to 15% bigger than a Mustang Mach-E. And, it's basically one size up from a Tesla Model Y. The Model Y is actually not that much smaller, but anyway, you can see it's a little bit bigger than a Tesla Model Y, probably closer to a Model X interior size. The weight is 2,360 kilo, which I think is actually really impressive for a car this size, with the size of battery pack that this thing has. Apparently, this new battery will be bigger. It's going to be 108.8 kilowatt hours usable capacity. That's a big battery. And it will have a range of 615 kilometers. That's the four-wheel drive version. And the range for the non-four-wheel drive version, the two-wheel drive, will be 700 kilometers. Keep in mind, you're probably thinking the range doesn't sound that great. And, It's good, but it's not great. One of the reasons is LFP battery chemistry is not as energy dense as NCA or NCM chemistries. That is the trade-off. That's the one trade-off, really, I believe, for using LFP batteries. And I personally think it's worth that trade-off, but some might not. What about price? Well, the new version is going to be around about $5,000 more expensive than the previous version. That's probably thanks mostly to the battery pack being bigger. The current Tang EV in China costs around $39,000 for the base model, up to $55,000 for the highest spec model. The new 2022 Tang will be a bit more expensive. Its pricing will range. It'll start at a lower base price of $39,450, and the top spec will come out at $55,000. So you can see $39,000 up to $55,000. Now the previous model was $44,000, started higher, but the top spec model was $49,000. So you can see the higher spec model is going to be more expensive, probably the bigger battery pack. We don't know yet what the size of the battery pack will be on that cheaper model. That might just be the two-wheel drive, might come with the same battery pack. I don't know. When I find out, I'll make another video. But as you can see though, it'd be cool. Is, this is one of the benefits of living in China, that you can get a car like this for $39,000. This size with this kind of battery pack, the kind of technology these cars have. They're very, very impressive. When will this vehicle launch to market in China and in Norway and in other countries where they're going to sell them as well? I don't know. Unfortunately, when I find out, I'll let you know though. How fast can it go? Apparently the most powerful model, the model with a motor at the front and the rear, will do 0 to 62 miles an hour or 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 4.4 seconds. It's pretty fast for a vehicle this size and this weight. And that model will come with 517 horsepower and 680 newton meters of torque. There will also be a cheaper version, the one with the single motor at the front. That's going to have 245 horsepower and 330 newton meters. So you can see basically they're just putting two of those motors for the all-wheel drive version. I think this is great news. I love the fact that car companies are continuing to update and improve their vehicles, give them better range, give them better specs, give them more power, give them better features, give them better efficiency. And this vehicle will apparently hit the market within the next few months, even though we don't know the official date. It's going to have a bigger battery. It's going to have an option of 6 seats. It's going to have a new smart suspension system. And surely sales of this vehicle will increase in China and in Norway and wherever else in the world they decide to sell one. If they decided to sell them in Australia, these things would sell like crazy. I reckon the same would be the case in the US and Europe as well. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Would you consider one of these if it costs $45,000 with this 108 kilowatt hour battery pack, lithium iron phosphate LFP Blade battery pack, a vehicle of this size, $45,000? I think it sounds great, but let me know what you think in the comment section below. Have a good day and I'll see you again on the next video. Bye-bye.